Well, in this video I will be discussing one of the application of Lindewold equation, which is a stochastic equation, as I discussed in the previous video. So basically it will be an application where a system gets acted over randomly via unitaries that causes random changes in the phase. We will also see that this random action actually makes the system classical. So which means that only the diagonal elements will not get suppressed with time, and the off diagonal elements will get suppressed. So this is the one of the reason which is generally called decoherence, for which the world that we see around is actually classical. So decoherence is a nice research topic, but we will not go into that detail. But obviously the calculation here may be quite intensive. So let's start. So the basic setup we start from is that in time t equal to n tau, where tau is the least time. So a particle covers a distance of a units in a time of tau. So this is the definition of tau. So after n tau, the particle obviously would have taken n steps, but the catch is that you see you have n steps, but after each step it takes, it will choose to move forward or backward with a probability of half. So this means that if a particle has taken 2 steps, it can move a distance of 2a, or it can go 1 step and then back, and it can just stay at the origin. So this is a very common problem of random work. So now out of n step, if I say forward means success, then k forward step means that there is k success, and n minus k are the failures. So using this two parts and the fact that this is a binomial distribution that basic probability theory tells us, we get the average as np and the variance as npq. Now once this average and variance of the number of steps has been found, it is quite easy to find the average and variance of the total distance covered, because total distance covered is nothing but number of steps taken forward times the forward distance, and minus number of step it takes backward and the unit distance that we are considering here. So this gives this as the variable x, and the randomness, the random variable x is associated to the random variable k, which is the number of successes, which is quite obvious. Now average of x can be taken because average will be a linear operation, so it will just not see this guy, it will just go here, because average of a constant is 1, it will go the average here and it is 0. So this is a obvious fact of random walk. Okay, so and sigma square equal to will be just so 4a square n by 4. So this is easy because it will follow from here. You see, you have a x variable, you have a constant here, the variance of the constant is 0, and the variance of some so variance of some constant times k, where k is the random variable, the sigma square is just c square sigma square k. So that gives me here. So given these two quantities, we can now say the fact that central limit theorem says that these quantities, these distributions will tend to Gaussian distribution with these mean and variances. And finally we formulate the Gaussian distribution with the mean of 0 and a variance of na square. And this is the general form of the Gaussian distribution you see here, this part. And then that is when I substitute these two parts here, I get this. Now you may be wondering how this time factor comes, but that is very easy, because you see total time that has passed is number of steps time the unit time that it takes to travel the step A. Now this number of steps n appearing can be replaced by t by tau, and everything becomes a time dependent equation. So this is a very important point that we need to remember. So and hence finally I have a time dependent transformation. So the randomness is captured in this fact that it is evolving with time, such that the mean is remaining 0. Now let's move out to the quantum picture. So in the quantum picture I have a wave function and it has two states. These are orthonormal to each other, and these are the coefficients in front, which can be complex numbers such that they satisfy the normalization condition for a state. And now after I do that, I say that now the system is thrown into a black box and the system gets hit or kicked by random unitaries. So and a unitary can bring phase changes. You can have phase change unitary, you can have bit transformations, you can have flips. All these unitaries bring phase change. So random application will bring random phase changes where the randomness is captured in this angle of rotation. So if you remember the Bloch sphere representation, this just means that your state being here will travel in some way over the Bloch sphere if you have a 2-qubit representation. So now let's see. So the probability distribution of this random variables theta 1, theta 2 will obviously need to depend on time, because I have a time factor here, and the time factor is captured by the very fact that a random distribution has this kind of a time dependence. So we did a simple random distribution problem with this number of steps here, and we are applying it to a fact that suppose the axis was initially like this. Now I identify these 2 points and then the axis is a circle, and then you have the random kicks as the rotation by angle theta in the circle in random directions. So once we have gone through this problem, this is the probability distribution. You can see that the probability distribution is the multiplication of 2 independent distribution. This says that the angular distributions, these angular random phase kicks, are actually uncorrelated to each other. That follows from the basic probability theory. So let's move on. So now given everything, we know that the rho as a function of t will evolve in this manner, because when the t is 0, the rho is just this part. Let's come back to the previous page. You can see that this is the psi, the wave function at t equal to 0, and then at t equal to t it picks up random phases. So now up till here is all right, and this is the wave function. I have written it in the matrix form, so you can write it in the matrix form. It will just be a square b square, and then these 2 entries that you see here will just be this part and this part. So I have written it explicitly here. Now you see the integration will go inside. It will find 4 terms here because there are 4 matrix element. But you see, this is a random distribution, this is a Gaussian distribution, because we are considering long time limits, and the normalization condition of Gaussian distribution simply means that these 2 terms, terms which doesn't have a factor of theta 1 or theta 2 will just remain same, because the probability distribution will get integrated to 1, and then I only need to perform these scary integrals. But this is also very easy to perform because of the fact that Fourier transforms of Gaussian distributions are Gaussian distributions. So you see this calculation. So this calculation is very easy to perform. It will just require method of completing the squares. it also requires a bit of contour integration if you want to make it completely rigorous. But this fact is very well known that a Fourier transform of a Gaussian is a Gaussian, such that the localization of the Gaussian, the larger the localization will inversely vary while you do a Fourier transform. That is a very important property and a manifestation of the Heisenberg principle. So let's take this part. So this is the Fourier transform. So you have a Gaussian distribution here, the variable is t, and then you are transforming it to a variable omega. These are the plus minus signs, which is based on the convention whatever you take, and final distribution you see is a Gaussian but with a inverse varying localization term. So now you can just apply this formula. You can clearly see that e power I theta 1 integrated using a Gaussian function here will lead to a final Gaussian function here. So this simple application will finally give you that rho as a function of t to be this. Now here comes the very important fact. Physically, what has happened? Physically, initially we didn't have this part and this part. So you can just omit this exponentially decaying parts, and you will see you have a superposition because the off diagonal parts are showing up. But the very act of random kicking the system continuously is causing a decay of the off diagonal entries, is causing a decay in the superposition, is causing a decay in the very essence of that, the fact that the system is quantum mechanical. Because you see, a system that is only diagonal is essentially a classical system. If you have something like A 0 0 B mod square, this is a classical system because it is completely deterministic. Either the system will be here or here. It is not in a superposition. So a non-classical system, by the act of random unitary kicks, changes to a classical system. This is the essence of decoherence. Now let's look at how simply we can make a Lindenwald matrix formulation. Because this is a stochastic equation, you see you have a Lindenwald equation formalism. Let's define the Lindenwald operators in this form. Then if you take this matrix and do a derivative, derivatizing each of the terms with respect to t, obviously you will get these two to be 0, and you can see this is rho of t, and when the entry is diagonal, rho of t minus rho of t is 0, and these two will give some derivatives, and you see the exponential part multiplicator will just jump in front, that is this, and this is the final derivative written in a condensed form after you do a derivative of this state. Now just rewrite this equation in terms of the Lindenwald matrix formalism, and you will see without any surprise this equation is the master equation. This is the master equation that I have shown in the previous video. I derived it from a cross operator formalism, but the simple motivation is that so much of this entire stochastic nature of this system is getting captured by this master equation. So that's all for this video. One of the most important fact that we must keep in mind in this video is that the fact that finally the system becomes classical because of a randomness. So randomness makes system classical and gives rise to a classical world. So that's all for this video.